Very good, very good. Moving right along
I know, I know.
in our do the right things consistently for success. And we're going to bring up a speaker today and introduce you. A few weeks ago, Mark shared with us a technique of how he was able to deliver a speech without notes. How many remember that speech? It's hard to forget that one, Mark. Due to the time limit he had, he wasn't able to share how we could do it ourselves. Okay? Today, Mark will give us the technique to apply to information so that we can remember our talking points without using paper. Help me welcome Mark and his speech, the Fig Body List Technique.
That's right.
He's got Fig, F-I-G's capitalized. I don't know if that's an acronym. The Fig Body List Technique.
Technique.
All right.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. If you look on the back, I did come up with some quick stuff, so you don't actually have to write stuff out. You might want to make some notes, but because of the way this works, you're not really going to need notes too much. Let's kind of go over. A couple weeks ago, who remembers? I had the speech was persons who had mastered the art of blank. Who remembers what blank was?
Speaking.
Speaking. It's close to speaking.
Listening.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I must be falling
I
apart.
remember the
There were-
this and this.
All right, let me ask you this. How many characteristics did I
Five.
give you? Five.
Five.
Okay, we remember five. And I started off with what was the number one characteristic?
Toes,
Okay, that was toes. And what did the toes represent?
eyes,
And what did the eyes do?
see.
They see. What did the,
Yeah,
what did
laser
the
beams.
Oh,
they had
laser beam.
laser
That's
beams
right,
coming out
laser
of them.
beam.
And what was that characteristic? What did that represent?
Focus.
Focusing on the person you're trying to persuade. Whether you're a salesman, you're selling an idea, you're selling a project. So see, a little bit of prodding, but you remember that. What was the fourth one? Who remembers what the fourth one was?
Rear.
But
The rear. Okay, we got the rear. Okay, that's good. Who
Carlos.
remembers that one?
It's on the cheat sheet.
What?
Oh.
What was on the rear? What did I put in my pocket?
Oh, I didn't
Credit
even
cards.
see that.
Credit cards.
Credit cards.
And they
Okay.
were in the shape of
Ball.
a ball,
Okay.
so that you were what?
Drawing it at him.
Credible. Remember that?
Incredible. Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. So that's basically how it works. I know I went through it really quick. You remember it. It's a little rough, but I got hit by Carlos, who told me afterwards. He was like, I wanted you to tell me how you did that. Okay. So this is how you do this technique. First off, how many people remember the old commercial with the big Fig Newton? You know, the guy would dance around, he had a big fig costume on, and he would do the big fig a Newton.
I remember that.
You remember that? Okay, Carlos, you were probably overseas. Anyway, the first thing, which is on your list, is fig. To remember anything, you're going to use fig. And fig is an acronym that stands for a file, an image, and glue. Now, let me get into how your brain works a little bit here. Everyone uses images when they think. If I say dog, now you may see D-O-G, but you see it, or you see a dog. If I say a car, you may think of a specific car. You may think of a Toyota, you may think of an SUV, but in your mind, when I say a word, you have an image of it. All right? What you need to do is take the images and put them in a file, and that's what the body list is all about. So if you see I have from 1 to 10, everywhere I go, I bring a file cabinet with me. All right? There's 10 spots, and as we go through it, the first spot, we start at the lowest spot, which is the toes. So when we did our thing the other day, I started with the toes, and my toes turned into eyeballs with frickin' lasers coming out of them. Okay, so the toes are the file. My image was the eyeball, and then the glue part is you need some kind of action. You need some kind of emotion. You need something to really help you stimulate. Now these work for me because I have a degree in lasers. So when I think back to Austin Powers and I forget, Dr. Evil, and he's like, I want lasers with sharks, or I want sharks with lasers on their heads, and they go, no, all we got is sea bass with lasers on their heads. Oh, I want frickin' lasers. That's funny to me. So there's an emotion, and with the eyeballs, focus. Because as I was going through the Toastmaster manual for the 5 characteristics of people who are masters at persuading, the first characteristic was focus on the person you're talking to. So there's an image, an eyeball. I'm focusing with my eyeballs. So you got the image and then the glue with the lasers coming out. That's how I remember it. You can do it however you want. But what you need to do is understand, wow, I'm off a little bit because the time. How long have I been going? 4 minutes, 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes already? Wow, okay.
Probably the review probably took
Yeah, it took a little longer than I was expecting. Okay, so let me go through the file cabinet for you with your body. The first file is your toes. Then you're going to work your way up and your knees. And who remembers what our knees were a couple weeks ago? What were growing out of the side of our knees?
Ears.
Ears. Excellent. And then they had a little rubber band mouth, so I was up here doing the Lindy dance. Okay, so that was my glue. So I had the image of the ears, a little bit of glue, and the idea was the image and the glue made us 2 ears, 1 mouth, use them proportionally. Listen to the person that you're talking to. Then we moved up. Number 3 was the muscle on your thigh. And that was a female sheep, which is known as a ewe, named Val, was nipping. And when I was trying to remember how to go through this, on Monday, it was kind of like, what was number 3? And all of a sudden, I literally, in my mind, could feel the sheep pinching my thigh. That's how the glue works. Oh, something was beating. Oh yeah. And then within a few seconds, I remembered it. The baseball part was easy because I was a kid. I played baseball, and I would always stick either a tennis ball or a baseball in my back pocket, and I would sit on it, and it would hurt. So number 4 is your rear. You're working your way up. Number 5 is around your lungs. And what was it, your lungs? You want to remember? Smiling. Remember the big rubber doll that wraps around your lungs?
Oh, stretch.
Smiling Stretch
Stretch
Armstrong.
Armstrong.
And he's smiling at you because you're going to have a pleasant personality whenever you're dealing with people when you're persuading them. So that's the first 5. I gave you the first 5 folders. Moving up, I'm going to give you the other 5. You go to your shoulders is number 6. Your collar is number 7. Your face is number 8. Number 9 is the point on the top of your head. And number 10 is actually the ceiling. It's not on you. But there's pretty much always some sort of a ceiling or the sky or something around you. So if you can remember in order all these things, wherever you go, you've got your file cabinet with you. Now this is only one technique. There's a number of techniques, and I'm not very good at the other ones yet. But if you can remember the body list, and then as you're going through and you're preparing a speech, if you have 3 points, 5 points, 8 points, 10 points, you can even get to 20 points, and you can get to 10, and then you can turn around and start at 10 and come back down. The idea is, if you're focusing, what's an image of focusing? Well, I used eyeballs, and then the glue was the laser. Okay, Number two, I work my way up my body. It's my knees, then your muscle, your rear. So you're always working in a sequence and you're filing away this stuff. So if you don't remember what's next, well, what was the last thing you just talked about? Well, if I talked about being credible, I know that was the ball of credit cards that were in my rear. So what's above my rear? Oh, my lungs, which seems weird to say lungs. You normally say chest. I didn't invent this idea, but that's what they told me to say was lungs. So you want something here. Well, a Stretch Armstrong doll pulling on my lungs and smiling at me. Oh, smile and stretch. Be pleasant. That makes sense to me. That's the glue. You can use whatever you want. So in closing, you want to remember the Fig Newton. To remember anything, remember FIG stands for the file, which is your body list, 1 through 10. Come up with an image for whatever it is you're talking about. So if you have a talking point, make it into some bullets, because we can remember bullets very well, and come up with some image of what each bullet stands for, and then put it on that part of your body. I know when I was learning this, some guy was talking about taking all these papers and writing names on them and staple them to your thigh, to your muscle on your thigh. And I'm like, what in the world is that? And then you go, and it was part of to get people in, you want to list everyone you know to send them out brochures, is basically what he was trying to get you to remember to do for step number 3. But he's like, staple them, take a knife and, thumbtacks, and just in your mind's eye. You have to use your imagination, which I know gets a little tough at times, but the more imagination, the more emotion, the wilder and crazier and wackier it is, the easier it's going to be to remember. So remember the FIG, remember the body list, make it your own, and I know you'll be able to get up here and do the exact same thing that I've been able to do in front of multiple people at multiple times. With that, I'll turn it back over to you, our Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Mark. And that's another sign.